Just a quick note, we had a strange technical issue that prevented me from recording most of Zikz. His face will pop up later, but please enjoy this interview while you have this picture of him instead. And also, please subscribe to the channel. Well, it's the second week of LCS Lock-In with coverage brought to you by Alienware. I'm joined right now by Zikz Lol. Is it Zikz Lol or is it just Zikz?
Just Zikz. Just Zikz.
Okay.
Please take out the LOL.
Because I think your players used to call you Zikz Lol.
They still call me Zikz Lol, yeah.
Okay, and you're trying
I've
to
got
fight
a million
that.
nicknames at this point, yeah.
Okay, well, what are the other nicknames?
Just really, really dumb ones that they come up with, like Big Ant, because they
Big
found out
Ant.
my name was Anthony.
Okay.
Yeah. They all changed their Discord names to match my name somehow.
Okay,
So,
great. Fantastic. Glad to hear.
Yeah.
Anyway, is this your current team?
Yes, current team, yeah.
Okay, and they're doing this. Well, whatever. Let's get into it. So this is a very different team than you coached previously. And you're in, I don't know if, I'm actually trying to think of, there's probably not too many coaches in the past who have been with an organization and then had so many players all come in at once that all like shared that connection previously.
Yeah.
And here you are now, they came to you rather than you going to them. So what has this experience been like? How's it been different from the previous teams that you've coached in the past?
Well, I'll definitely say the style was very, very different from what I was, working with last split. And we were definitely more of a mid-game centric team that just tries to coast through early game and make it out alive. And then in mid-game, we would usually like outplay people with like better macro or something like that, or a really easy team fight comp, those kinds of things. So coming into like this group of guys and being able to like see them from the outside first has been really interesting because we scouted this team when we were going to play them on the weekend. So we knew exactly what to expect from them. So then I talked to all of them during the offseason one-on-one to kind of get a feel for how their team was, what their exit interviews looked like last split. So I could kind of, have a good understanding of what they already knew they needed to work on.
Yeah, you're almost like reconstructing the
Yeah, exactly. We're just like starting where they left off.
Right.
And given, top lane's role is kind of, a bit of an island anyway, and this team primarily plays through bot, it was pretty easy to integrate Chano into like that mix as well. But I'll say that it was an interesting process, just learning about the team. We spent a few days observing, understanding how they play the game, where their strengths and weaknesses are. And then, they were really opportunistic. They didn't really have great plans. That was like one of the first things we started talking about was how to set up a proper plan, what mid game looked like, because they were typically a really aggressive team, wins hard in early game, but doesn't know at all what to do in mid game. So that's been a pretty big focus of ours, is stepping up that level of understanding and planning to be able to execute well consistently and snowball those games where we have fat leads in the early game.
So much of the work that coaches do, from my limited understanding, I think from everybody's limited understanding, is building kind of like the synergy, teamwork, getting it so that the players can all work together, et cetera, et cetera. Was that basically done for you, whatever they got in? I mean, obviously you need to figure out how to integrate someday into it. As you said, it sounded pretty easily, but like, or was there still work to be done in terms of like making sure these four players can all play well together, just as a team, setting aside like strategy and all that?
Yeah, there was and is still a lot to work on for sure. I'd say there is some natural synergy that I can feel based on like the fact that they've played together. Like they kind of know what to expect from each other. They know that, like Tanner knows that things are going to be this way, or we're going to play harder through bot than we're going to play through mid. Sometimes John's going to take the blue buff and Tanner has to deal with it and like this kind of stuff. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that's already built in, but there's still obviously a lot that we're working on as well, especially, like I said, top lane being an island, trying to find ways to integrate top lane more into our play has been something we've been working on as well. Because this team was definitely a team that plays heavy toward bot side. So we've been working on that and trying to get Chano a bit more integrated into what the four-man's trying to do. And overall, it's been a pretty solid process, working every single day to figure out how we can better ourselves around all of our weaknesses that we've been showing throughout the tournament so far.
One of the fun opportunities that you have as a coach now is to reunite with Huhi, but in a different role. So what has that experience been like for you? And do you see much difference in him as a person and as a player now versus when you last worked with him?
Yeah. I mean, so when I worked with him before, he was like like a bit more immature, or like he was really emotional. So like if people said things a specific way that he didn't like, he would kind of get mad about it. But I think him working with FBI and Closer so much, they're a bit more like a bit more like ego like type people that always kind of like flame each other like for fun. And I think that that's kind of like changed him into like more of that kind of same mindset. I mean, I for sure love Jay. Jay is really, really good. Like in my head, he's probably like one of the most impactful players and probably like one of the candidates in my head for like MVP this split. Just because, I mean, you won't see it a lot of the stuff that he does, but his out of game intangibles and everything, it's just too insane. It's too good for the entire team, and he sets up all of our planning, all of our plays. He keeps the leash on us when we're being a bit too undisciplined in game. He's got the full package. He's super, super good.
So when you talk about that, the out of game intangibles, are you talking about like just the communication, like people, closer wants to go in and do something crazy, and he's like, I think we should just chill. Is that the type of stuff you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean intangibles in terms of like, yeah, he like sees things that other people don't see in terms of like creativity. He's a great teammate out of game, always looking out for people, trying to make sure any like let's say arguments in post game get resolved, or that we're like seeing each other's perspectives, this kind of thing. He's very, very in tune with everything that's happening. He's a very like holistic person by nature.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm just now realizing that for some reason my software won't record your video, but that's fine. We'll just put a picture of you up,
Okay,
and I'll
perfect.
keep trying to fix it. It's fun working as a one man producer for this stuff. I'm ready to go back to the studio and have people more talented than I recording. But I mean, let's talk a little bit about that. What has it been like for you, and does it feel different at all this past, I don't know, 9 months or so, coaching, not from the studio and having people play, not on the same stage as the other team?
I think for now it's, yeah, there's a level of like pregame rituals and things like this that don't currently like they won't currently exist because we're not actually moving physically to a different location. So like sometimes we're not like super mentally like in it. For example, the CLG game, it was a 5 p.m. game, pretty late in the day. Usually that's when our game 5 is for scrims, right? So people didn't have coffee right before the match, so they were a bit tired, not making like proper decisions, this kind of stuff. But if we were just going to the studio, then like all of these things kind of wouldn't happen that same way, because we'll have a different routine and actually be moving to a different location where there's better lights. We don't have to worry about, the natural lighting of the room is not in a good position because there's lights on stage. It's going to be
Yeah.
consistent. So there's just some small factors like that that will always be affected by the fact that we're, not at the studio. So I think once we get back to the studio, everybody will kind of get back to those consistent rituals before our match.
There's a lot of players. I talked to your players last week about this, but there's a lot of analysts, who I have accused them. I accused Mark of this, of like they power rank 100 Thieves as like number 3 over TSM because they want to be like spicy. Because generally speaking, so many people would say like, oh well, TL, C9, TSM. That's not to say I don't think 100T should be up there, but it does feel like 100T right now. It's like, or at least before the start of the season, was like the spicy one to rank as a top 3 team. Do you, what is your anticipation for this team? Because so many people felt like, okay, well, you've got TL, you've got C9, they've got, Perks and Alfari, they've got kind of the lock-in on this, but, Golden Guardians, are they even, obviously they looked good last year, but now they're on 100T. So I guess my question is, where do you see this team? Do you think they can win spring? Do you think they're likely to win spring? Those types of questions.
Yeah, I mean, we're going for the title for sure. There's no doubt in my mind that we can do it. We have the ability to, given the players that we have, the infrastructure we have, the organization backing us. I think all of the resources are there for us to be able to do it. And as long as we keep with our process, going day by day, building the wall brick by brick, then we're gonna make it. We're gonna be champions.
Okay. And when you look at the way TL and C9 are playing, do you see them as being big obstacles for you right now, or have you felt less concerned, I guess, over the course of lock-in, seeing the way the other teams are playing?
I mean, I think given the limited time, right now it's kind of, obvious that we were a team that has a lot of pre-built synergy
Yeah.
and a lot of questions answered. Uh, they, had little time to practice with Alfari. Now they're just now bringing in Santorin, so we don't have like a perfect read of how TL will look once they have the full roster. Same with C9. Perks came a bit later. Sven came a bit later, so they have less practice. I think that they'll be strong teams. They'll be strong opponents for us. But I definitely don't have a single doubt in my mind that we're not going to be able to topple them, or, they can even beat us on certain days. But like when it comes down to it, I'm sure we're going to be standing up there with the trophy.
Yeah, very good. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I feel like that'll be, I don't want to say a dynasty ending, but it'll be interesting to see if you guys do manage to do that, just a different team than one that we're so used to lifting the trophy. Is there anything that you want to say to any of the fans out there?
Just thanks for supporting us. It's a pretty good start from us, so I'm pretty happy about it. I think we have a lot of work that still obviously needs to be done, but it feels good to come out with the first seed.
Very good. Well, looking forward to seeing how you guys continue to progress over the course of lock-in. And for everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things LCS right here on my YouTube channel. Hey, thanks so much for watching that interview. Last year sucked. I'm not going to lie. I mean, there were some great moments, and your support of this channel was one of those fantastic things about last year. But there were a lot of not-so-fun things. I'm looking forward to amazing things this year. And speaking of amazing things, if you'd like to check out Alienware's new M15 and M17, the R4 versions with the new NVIDIA graphics, you can do that at the link in the description, alienware.com/Travis. Travis 10 off Q4 will save you 10% off that order. We thank Alienware so much for their support of this channel.